Hi, I'm McLaughlin, and today I'm going to be explaining how to judge poetry. So first things first, what is a poetry? Poetry is a black book event. What does that mean? They have a black book, which their piece is inside of. It's 7 minutes and 30 seconds of grace, so that means that the technical time is 7 minutes with 30 seconds of grace after that, which they can dig into without any harsh actions put against them. No penalties. Meaning if they're in 6 minutes flat, they're just fine. And if they're at 7 minutes flat, just fine. And if they're in 7:21, they're just fine. They can't go over 7:30 though. That's not just fine. Besides from that, it's a black book event. That means they have to have good or at least decent enough at black book etiquette, which is simply just being professional with your black book. Holding it center like this, elegantly, opening it smoothly, flipping the pages nice. Don't mess it up. Also, it accounts for standing centralized. They may move their feet a little bit in a step if they're doing a character. However, they should at all times remain in the same place, with at least 1 foot in the same place. It is generally unallowed in poetry and other black book events for you to move around while you're performing. It's just part of the black book etiquette. Also, good posture, it helps, it's good. Now, none of this is necessarily the end of the world if they do it wrong. What matters the most in all interp events usually is how well they speak. And I'm sure you can understand what makes a good speaker. It can be funny or sad. In poetry, they're usually going for something more dramatic. So how well they can captivate you as an audience member, as a judge, how well they can really, put that emotion out there, that counts. Or how well they can make you laugh, that can also count. It's got to have impact though. The main thing that you should maybe also look out for is that it has to be a poetry. That's something that you should usually just go with the student. They usually know if it's poetry or not. Not that big of a deal. But if they maybe are not reading it in a poetic style, that doesn't really matter. What matters is that they're reading it with passion, right? What matters is how well they can speak and convey the emotions in the piece. So don't worry too much about it being titled poetry. You might see, again, more poetic bits. So people may do something like very impactful with the book and speak in a certain pattern, and that's great. You can give them bonus points for that, whatever you want. It's great. But don't focus too much on that. Focus on how well they speak and if they're not speaking. There will be an intro, by the way, and if there's not, that's not great. But again, so they'll be standing like this, they'll open their book, they'll speak from their book, and then they'll close their book and give their intro. Their intro should have their title and author in it. You'll understand. It's just standard and customary. You get it. Atop from that, the only other thing I can think of is to tell you that it is judged, first place is the best, and then following that, second place is second best, sixth place is usually the last, unless you have more people in your room, in which case, eighth or seventh is the last and the worst speaker. But apart from that, that's everything you need to know for poetry. So, good luck, have a good round, thank you very much.